Now I already know what you're thinking. What is a New Orleanian doing eating a Cobb salad? But you know what? My life, my choices, my Cobb salad. Alright, we're going to do a little history lesson. I am on Canal Street. Rivers that way, lakes that way. That's upriver, downriver. That is the CBD, the warehouse district, the American sector. This over here, this is the French Quarter. So the French, I mean, this is pretty obvious stuff here, right? Café du Monde, the coffee house of the world. Since 1862, folks from every corner of the planet have found their way to this little corner of the French market. Presidents, musicians, movie stars, and everyday travelers have all pulled up a chair. No one's kept count, but after more than 160 years, it's fair to say well over 100 million people have shared a plate of beignets beneath these green and white awnings. Now, here's how it works. You might stand in line or you might walk right in, but sooner or later you'll get a table, and believe me, it's worth the wait. Once you're seated, your server will come to you. One thing to remember, Café du Monde is cash only, so come prepared. Then comes the moment you've been waiting for. Order the beignets. They'll arrive piping hot, and I mean piping hot, buried beneath a mountain of powdered sugar. Here's the secret. Give them just enough time to cool so they don't scorch your mouth. But don't wait too long. A room temperature beignet has lost its magic. Take that first bite. Careful not to inhale unless you enjoy wearing powdered sugar. Then sit back and savor, because what you're tasting isn't just fried dough and sugar. You're tasting more than 160 years of New Orleans tradition. If you're on the move, head straight to the takeout window. In just a few minutes, you'll have a hot order of beignets buried under a mountain of powdered sugar and a Café au lait in your hand, ready to enjoy as you wander Jackson Square or watch the Mississippi roll by. The Clover Grill, one of the best breakfast places in the country, baby. Maybe they won't run me over, maybe they will. You're always taking your chances in New Orleans. World's best hamburgers and some of the world's best breakfasts. So yeah, the breakfast at the Clover Grill was good as always. Eggs were fantastic, hash browns perfect, the bacon, the toast, the whole thing. First rate, highly recommend, come back again. And the service was amazing. See that bright, bustling cafe right on the corner of St. Anne and Jackson Square? That's Stanley of New Orleans. Not just Stanley, but that Stanley from Tennessee Williams' Streetcar Named Desire.
Hey, Stanley!
It was created by local chef Scott Boswell. And when I say local chef, I don't mean some Food Network cowboy. I mean he beat Starbucks for this primo spot, which is about as New Orleanian as you can get. Stanley's opened shop in 2008 in the bottom of the Lower Pentaba building, and it's been slinging Eggs Benedict and poor boys from a front row view of the cathedral ever since. And look, this ain't just any building Stanley's sitting in. That's the Lower Pentaba building, built in the 1850s by a Creole baroness named Michaela Almonester de Pataba, who I can only assume was equal parts beauty queen, business genius, and absolute hellraiser. She spent a boatload of money, like pre-Civil War baller status, bulldozing a bunch of janky old buildings to make way for these twin red brick beauties on either side of the square. Think Paris meets Bourbon Street, but with much more wrought iron. Alright y'all, listen up. Eggs Stanley ain't just a breakfast, it's an experience. It's like if a poor boy in a fancy brunch item fell in love, had a baby, and raised it right on the streets of New Orleans. Now you got two poached eggs sitting there looking like royalty on top of those English muffins, which are getting smothered in this Creole hollandaise that's basically butter with an attitude. And then, bam, here comes them Gulf oysters, cornmeal crusted and crunchy like they're mad at the plate. They ain't no garnish, they're the headliners. And buried under all that goodness, smoked ham, buddy. Not that thin, sad deli stuff. This is smoky, salty, honest-to-God Southern ham that gives those eggs something to cling to when the yolk floodgates burst open. You cut into it, and the next thing you know, there's yolk and hollandaise running wild like it's Mardi Gras on your plate. Those oysters, they're like bite-sized seafood fireworks, crispy outside, juicy inside, and they just don't play nice. They take over. Every bite's like, yeah, this is why I'm not eating brunch in Ohio. Long story short, this dish is bold, loud, a little messy, and absolutely glorious. So good. It's what happens when you give a brunch classic a shot of Southern swagger and let it walk down Bourbon Street. You eat the egg Stanley, and you're not just full, you're baptized.
Some legends are written in books, others are served on a warm plate. Napoleon House was once rumored to be the refuge prepared for Napoleon Bonaparte himself. He never arrived, but the legend stayed. Inside, time slows. Peeling plaster, quiet courtyards, and old world charm remind you that this is New Orleans at its most authentic. And then there's the warm muffaletta itself. Layers of Italian meat, melted cheese, and the city's famous olive salad on the fresh Sicilian bread. Rich, bold, unforgettable. If you leave Napoleon House without trying one, you didn't just miss lunch, you missed a piece of New Orleans.
See, the poor boy was born across town during hard times, but it found its soul right here in the French Quarter. This neighborhood has a way of taking in strays. Musicians, dreamers, sinners, and sandwiches alike. Awesome enough just to make him shine under the gas lamps. It's a match made in heaven, a messy, beautiful mill, or a messy, beautiful city. Now, don't let nobody tell you a poor boy's fancy. It ain't. It's built for survival. Cheap, fast, and heavy enough to hold off a hangover or a heartbreak, whichever comes first. The bread's from Leidenheim, crusty on the outside, soft as Sunday forgiveness inside, and stuffed with whatever the friar blesses you with that day. Shrimp, catfish, roast beef, or oysters big enough to startle a preacher. We eat it with both hands and zero dignity. That gravy will run down your arm like a second baptism. And that hot sauce will make you confess things you hadn't planned on telling nobody. Down here, we don't judge a man by his clothes, just by how he handles a poor boy without losing half of it on the floor. And Lord, the quarter runs on it. By day, it's line cooks, bartenders, and tour guides wolfing down poor boys between shifts. By night, it's street musicians, night owls, and tourists discovering that love at first bite is a real thing. You can't walk 2 blocks without catching a whiff of grease and glory. It's the unofficial perfume of New Orleans, y'all. The beauty of it all is how democratic it is. In this city, a man in a linen suit and a fella covered in powdered sugar from Café de Monde can sit side by side at a counter, both too busy eating to care who's who. The poor boy don't care about your wallet, just your appetite and your attitude. Folks here argue about poor boys the way other people argue about politics or football. Whose shrimp is crispier? Whose roast beef drip spats? Whether dress means pickles or just lettuce and tomatoes. These are holy debates, fought with napkins instead of fists, and everybody walks away full and happy anyway.
Johnny Poor Boys. No gimmicks, no fancy dining room, just one of the oldest family-owned poor boy shops in the French Quarter, serving New Orleanians since 1950. Now around here, a poor boy isn't just a sandwich, it's a piece of the city's soul. Crackling French bread, overloaded with fried shrimp, roast beef drippings, and rich gravy, or oysters fresh from the go. Simple food done right, with that's the way it always has been. If you want to know what New Orleans tastes like, don't ask. Pull up a chair at Johnny's and take a bite. If you want to bring New Orleans home with you, there is one stop you don't want to miss. Nola stocks authentic Cajun and Creole seasonings, roux, hot sauces, spices, and cookbooks written by people who have been cooking these recipes for generations. It's a chance to learn the technique, pick up the right ingredients, and discover what makes Louisiana cooking unlike anything else in America. Now let's get to the good part. Nola serves the kind of gumbo every visitor should try, at least once. The roux is rich and flavorful. The seasoning is balanced, and every spoonful tastes like authentic Louisiana comfort food. If you're planning to cook Cajun cuisine at home, this is the perfect place to discover what the real thing is supposed to taste like. (1913). The French Quarter isn't a postcard yet. It's a neighborhood. Horse-drawn wagons rattle over cobblestones. Sicilian grocers stack fresh produce outside their doors. Fishermen unload the day's catch at the French market. And somewhere nearby, a new sound called jazz is beginning to echo through the street.
Anyone finer in the state of Carolina? If there is, then you know, show to me.
That's when Laura Candies opened its door. More than a century later, they're still here, not because they chased every new trend, but because they never abandoned the old ones. Fresh pralines poured by hand, rich chocolates made in small batches, recipes passed down instead of rewritten. In a city that survived fires, hurricanes, war, prohibition, and the changing tastes of generations, Laura's Candy is proof that if you make something with pride and make it right, people will keep coming back for another 100 years at least.
Picture it, a mound of ethereal shaved ice, delicately infused with a symphony of sweet syrup and adorned with an array of tantalizing toppings.
French Quarter may have the crowds, but Sydney has the locals. Just a mile and a half away, this neighborhood favorite serves the kind of snowballs New Orleanians grew up with. Ice shaved so fine it melts the instant it touches your tongue. Add one of their famous hot tamales or a plate of crawfish nachos, and you discovered a side of New Orleans many visitors never see. Before the concrete river carried automobiles, North Claiborne Avenue carried a community. Towering live oaks shaded a boulevard where children played, musicians entertained, families gathered, and black-owned businesses flourished. During segregation, Claiborne wasn't just a street, it was the economic and cultural heart of New Orleans' black community. When plans to run Interstate 10 through the French Quarter were defeated, the highway came here instead. The oaks came down, businesses disappeared, and a thriving neighborhood was split in two. Even today, beneath the shadow of the interstate, the spirit of Claiborne survives in Second Line, Mardi Gras Indians, and a community that refuses to let its history be buried beneath the concrete. Now, if you ask me, Aunt Sally's is the praline I keep coming back to. It's softer, creamier, and richer than the old-fashioned brittle style. Every bite is packed with Louisiana pecans wrapped in a smooth, fudge-like candy that practically melts before you even have a chance to chew it. They've been hand-pouring pralines in New Orleans since 1935, and over the years, they have helped define the creamy New Orleans-style praline folks around the world have come to recognize. Sometimes tradition isn't just about being the oldest, it's about getting it exactly right. You don't have to look for Southern candy making. Just follow the smell of butter, caramel, and toasted pecans. Since 1992, they've been making their award-winning pralines the old-fashioned way. Fresh cream, real butter, pure sugar, and jumbo Louisiana pecans, hand-scooped onto cool marble slabs one batch at a time. They hand out warm samples because they know all you have to have is one taste, and you'll be hooked. Rich, creamy, and packed with pecans, this isn't just candy, my friends. It's a taste of New Orleans tradition that has been winning people over for generations. Cafe Pintaba is where you catch your breath. Overlooking Jackson Square, it's been serving both locals and visitors beneath the historic Pintaba buildings for generations. Order the seafood gumbo, dark roux, Gulf seafood, and the slow-cooked flavors that define New Orleans. Every spoonful tells the story of a city where French, Spanish, African, and Creole traditions came together in one unforgettable bowl. And New Orleans gumbo isn't just a meal, it's heritage you can taste. People were told that this building once held enslaved men, women, and children awaiting auction. Modern research tells a more complicated story. Historians now believe that the actual Maspero's exchange and the slave auctions associated with it stood just across the intersection on the site of what is today's Royal Orleans Hotel. Whether here or a few steps away, this corner reminds us that the French Quarter wasn't only a place of commerce and culture, it was also part of one of the darkest chapters in American history. Now, Pierre Maspero's has been a restaurant for decades, welcoming visitors from around the world with their delicious food and great hospitality. So today, we are going to try the jambalaya. This, my friend, this is Louisiana comfort food on a plate. Smoky sausage, tender chicken, perfectly seasoned rice, and just enough spice to let you know you're in New Orleans. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just honest Cajun cooking that leaves you planning your next bite before you even finish the first one.
The joint's called Oceana Grill, and it's slinging gumbo, oysters, and late-night regrets to tourists who think they can outdrink New Orleans. Spoiler alert, they can't, but they sure give it the old college try. Back in the mid-1900s, long before somebody thought to fry everything that swam, this corner was home to a little Cantonese spot called Mi-Hom's, or Jen's Mi-Hom, if you were on a first-name basis with your egg rolls. Folks swear the place was legendary, open till the 80s when the last fortune cookie got cracked and the quarter lost one of its quiet little treasures. This building is a real looker, 3 stories tall, brick all the way up, balconies that could tell you secrets if they could still talk, and iron railings that have seen more Mardi Gras beads than any sane person should. It's your classic 19th century Creole townhouse, the kind that's been sweating through New Orleans summers since Abraham Lincoln was still working on a flatboat. And make no mistake, this spot's old, real old. Records from the early 1800s already list buildings on the property, meaning this corner has been making itself useful since the days when horse traffic was the main concern. Today it sits on Square 63, which sounds like something out of a Monopoly game, but is just the city's way of saying, yep, this one's important. The historians at the Historic New Orleans Collection even keep a file on it, photos, maps, and everything, just to make sure nobody forgets how long this corner has been holding up drunks and dreamers alike. This place hums all day and half the night, serving up oysters, gumbo, po' boys, and anything else that once swam, crawled, or clucked. They fry it, blacken it, or drown it in butter till you forget what it used to be. Now, don't make the rookie mistake of thinking you can just stroll in whenever you please. This ain't no we'll squeeze you in kind of joint. You need a reservation partner, and by the time you show up, the smart folks have planned way ahead and are already halfway through their oysters and laughing at your misfortune. So call ahead, click ahead, or send a carrier pigeon, whatever it takes. They open bright and early around 8 a.m., and they don't shut down till 1 a.m., because in New Orleans, breakfast and last call have a way of getting real cozy. There's a full bar too, because no respectable French Quarter restaurant lets you face the day, or the night, without a little liquid courage. The place itself is a slice of New Orleans theater, dining rooms dressed in Creole color, a courtyard where you can hear the saxophones drifting down from Conti Street, and a staff that runs the joint like a well-oiled parade. Now, if you ever find yourself sitting at Oceana Grill staring down a plate of oyster Rockefeller, go ahead and count your blessings. You're about to eat something fancy enough for a millionaire, but honest enough for a fisherman. They come out still sizzling, lined up on their shelves like little jewels in a row, smelling of butter, garlic, and good intentions. The spinach is creamy, the breadcrumbs are crisp, and that wisp of anise floats up like a polite reminder that this city never does anything without a wink. The oysters themselves are fat and proud, straight out of the Gulf, and they don't hide it. One bite, and you'll swear you can hear the waves slap against the levee. It's rich, salty, and sinful in all the right ways, like New Orleans on a Sunday morning after a Saturday night got a little out of hand.
Like it's so good.
Oh yeah. So good. And if you're thinking about sharing, don't. This is the kind of dish that'll make you question how much you really like the person sitting next to you. Oceana's Rockefeller ain't trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just making sure the wheel's rolling in butter. And brother, that's good enough for me. Very, very good. Now, if you spot that Big Chief Oyster Florentine on the menu, don't overthink it. Just point, nod, and let those good times roll. This dish ain't here to impress the food critics. It's here to make you grin like a man who just found a 20 in his fishing pants. They bring it out hot enough to make your eyebrows stand at attention. Plump Gulf oysters tucked under a blanket of creamy spinach, butter, and enough cheese to make a dairy farmer blush. It's rich, it's bold, and it don't apologize for it. You can taste the sea in every bite, pair it with a coat of beta or a tall sweet tea, and you'll swear life just got a little easier. Like the oysters just got promoted straight from the Gulf to your plate. The spinach gives it that I'm eating greens excuse, but don't fool yourself. This ain't healthy food. This is Louisiana food, which means calories don't count if you're smiling. The whole thing's baked till it bubbles like a pot of gossip on a front porch. And when you taste that first bite, that's good. It's like the ocean and the bayou shook hands and agreed to call it dinner.
Enjoying everything, sir.
It's perfect. Could not be better. It's the kind of dish that makes you feel like you're doing something slightly sinful, but entirely worth it. And around here, that's about as close to religion as dinner gets.
We stepped right off Bourbon into La Bayou, a nice little restaurant. It's not very crowded right now, but it's usually pretty jamming during Saturday nights, you know. This is the old Al Hurt's Jazz Club. And if you don't know who Al Hurt is, this is Al Hurt. Now, La Bayou's known as an oyster bar. In fact, my son ordered the charbroiled oysters, and he said they were very good. And he's pretty critical when it comes to his oysters. Now, I ordered the fried shrimp spinach salad, which sounded perfect on this hot, humid May day. The strength of this salad is the combination of flavors. That fried shrimp, the fresh sliced strawberries, the dried cranberries, the blue cheese, the salad dressing. It all mixed so well, and it was really kind of unexpected. But on a hot day, and if you got a lot of walking to do, this may be your choice. The original French Market restaurant and bar, a New Orleans institution with roots that stretch back to the early 1800s. The Morello family built its reputation on Gulf seafood, bringing generations of fishing knowledge from Grand Isle to the French Quarter. Today it's one of the best places to roll up your sleeves, crack into a mountain of boiled crawfish, shrimp, or crabs, and eat the way locals do. Messy, loud, and unforgettable. And if you're eating crawfish, you're tasting one of Louisiana's great success stories. Every spring, millions of pounds are harvested from ponds and rice fields across the state, supporting thousands of fishermen, farmers, processors, restaurants, and festivals. Crawfish aren't just a meal, they're a cornerstone of the Louisiana culture and economy, turning muddy wetlands into one of America's most iconic iconic food traditions. If New Orleans has a place where history, legend, and pure fun collide, it's the New Orleans Vampire Cafe. Step inside and you'll trade Bourbon Street for a Gothic castle complete with candlelight gargoyles, blood-type mocktails, and cocktails, and a menu that's every bit as theatrical as the setting. It's more than lunch, it's an experience. But the real story is why a Vampire Cafe belongs here. New Orleans has embraced vampire legends for generations. Long before Hollywood, stories of the mysterious casket girls, the Carter brothers, and other local legends became part of the city's folklore. Then came Anne Rice, whose vampire chronicles transformed New Orleans into the vampire capital of popular culture. So grab a table, sip something blood red, and enjoy one of the most unique dining experiences in the French Quarter. In New Orleans, every lunch comes with a legend. Daiquiri shop. Daiquiri shop. Daiquiri shop.
So what is a New Orleans daiquiri? It's a frozen drink with alcohol in it served at a daiquiri shop. Daiquiris are big business in New Orleans, bringing in thousands of dollars a day for each and every shop, and there are hundreds of them in the greater New Orleans area. In a single night, a shop can go through 15 to 20 gallons of their most popular flavors. The mixture is 1 gallon flavored syrup to 2 gallons of water to 2 bottles of alcohol. The flavored syrup is just concentrated. It's mixed up in huge batches kept in tanks in the back, and a line is run to the daiquiri machines. It takes from 30 to 45 minutes to freeze to the perfect slushy consistency. Each commercial grade machine costs from $3,000 to $5,000 a unit depending upon its size. Shop has 10 machines. You are looking at a $40,000 investment just for the machines. Daiquiris cost from $9 to $13 a drink, so it's easy to make your money back. In fact, the profit margin can be 300%.
Nola Poor Boys on bourbon. He'll get you full for pretty cheap. And really cool place to hang out. So I got all this for under $20. So don't let anybody tell you you can't eat well in the French Quarter for cheap. You just got to go to Nola Pool Boys. They're great. All right, there's their menu. Look how much choices you have. And they're all inexpensive, or fairly inexpensive. I guarantee you ain't paying Royal Street prices, that's for sure.